Let's consider the demystification of meditations, specifically Beejas or seed mantras, which are only one syllable long. From a superstitious or a patriarchal point of view, these Beejas are ways of invoking non-corporeal, benevolent, powerful entities who can aid us in our various endeavors. From a rational point of view, when we look at the earliest written Buddhist meditation manuals whose scholars claim were based on discourses taught approximately 26 centuries ago. I can think of three of these manuals. The concise Anapanasati, or breathing with mindfulness with breathing, the middling Satipatthana Sutta, or the discourse upon the four bases of mindfulness, as well as the Maha Satipatthana Sutta, the greater discourse upon the four bases of mindfulness. I've mentioned all that to let you know that I'm not clever enough or deceptive enough to make this stuff up. In those meditation manuals, we are taught that it can be useful for our contemplative training to notice the phenomena in our bodies. In greater detail, in the second and third of those two manuals, we explore many, many items within our bodies. Over the centuries, different contemplatives have emphasized certain items in the body simply because they found it to be more useful. That is why I share the 5 elements in the body, the 5 locations in the body, or 6, depending on how you count. In previous lessons, we talked about 2 different items in the pelvis. The sex tip, which refers either to the most sensitive part of the clitoris or the most sensitive part of the penis, as well as the sex root, which refers once again to the most sensitive part of either the G-spot or the prostate. We talk about the abdominal cavity, the pleural cavity, the cervical cavity, the cranial cavity. Or to put it another way, talk about our guts, our chest, our throat, and our scalp. Why? Because noticing these sensations that may or may not occur there can seem beneficial to those who meditate regularly, to those who meditate every morning and every evening. They can notice that these things help them. The benefits that seem to be generated from allowing our mindfulness to notice specific body parts in a specific sequence can add to our resourcefulness, our lucidity, for want of a better term, and at the risk of sounding mystical, our ability to better interface with various phenomena and individuals. So let's take a moment to explore specifically our scalp. In a very popular Hindu system, they associate the syllable Om with the scalp, specifically the fontanelle, which is the place where the sutures or non-movable joints of the skull meet. It's the softest part on a baby's skull. I am told by medical professionals that is because it helps to have that area non-ossified and non-solidified for the birth process. I'm, of course, not a medical expert. I'm merely relaying what I've heard from those who at least seem to be credible on the subject. In the translation of various Hindu writings refer to that region as the aperture of Brahma. So in some Buddhist systems, they also use the syllable Om for that region. However, in a system popularized by the Bengali saint Naropa, that the syllable used for that region is Ham. Now, clearly, they didn't have a Romanized alphabet. They had a completely different alphabet. But over the years, it has been transliterated into English as H-A-M, or sometimes H-A-H-M, to emphasize the fact that the A is soft rather than hard. Yes, there are many superstitious people and many patriarchal people who insist that is very, very mystical and very, very special. Other people simply state pragmatically that certain sounds seem to be correlate most naturally with different parts of the body. I, for one, really enjoy taking a rational, non-spooky approach. I try to take a very soft and flexible approach as possible, not just because such things are endorsed by the teachings attributed to Gautama the Buddha or the teachings attributed to Lao Tzu the sage, but also, and most importantly, because taking a flexible, non-rigid approach seems to be integral to one's peace, one's resiliency, and accessing the flow state of one's inner genius. Long story short, according to the teachings popularized by the North Indian Bengali saint Naropa, the syllable Ham seems to be correlated with the region of the scalp, sometimes called the fontanelle in English, that some contemplatives have found a useful point to consider in their meditations. My name is Lama Jigme Gyatso, and this is the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Before you go, remember that below the video is a link that reads Show More. When you click that, you can gain access to resources that may profit you upon the contemplative path. Until next we speak, may you and yours be healthy and happy.